Saudi Arabia's NEOM is a $500 billion megaproject that aims to reshape urban life and technology. It has four major developments: the Line, Oxagon, Trojena, and Sindala. Each part hopes to bring green solutions and advanced designs together. The global spotlight is on NEOM as it pushes boundaries in architecture, sustainability, and how people might live in the future. Yet questions remain about whether these visions can succeed in practice. Today, we will explore NEOM's origins, check the progress on each piece, and see if its massive goals are grounded or simply out of reach. Let's look at the future that Saudi Arabia is trying to create. NEOM is a central part of Saudi Arabia's move to diversify away from oil income. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced it in 2017, calling it a new city of tomorrow. Planners describe NEOM as a testing ground for cutting-edge technology, minimal carbon footprints, and advanced infrastructure. In theory, it will run on renewable energy, use artificial intelligence for city services, and rely on designs that reduce waste. There are four core projects. The Line is a 170-kilometer linear metropolis with no cars and a zero-emissions ideal. Oxagon will be an industrial zone on the Red Sea featuring advanced robotics and a circular layout. Trojena aims to be a year-round mountain resort with winter sports and warm weather activities. Sindala, meanwhile, is planned as a luxury island escape with a global yachting clientele in mind. These four zones together represent the broad scope of NEOM's goal to transform living, working, and traveling. When this mega plan was revealed, many were excited by talk of futuristic transport, eco-friendly power, and sleek architecture. But critics worry about potential financial strain, forced relocations of tribes, and harsh desert challenges that might undermine the project. Even so, NEOM remains a key symbol of Saudi Arabia's push for a modern identity. Billions of dollars and years of labor now depend on whether this experiment can achieve something new. So, we have a sweeping plan and a lot of questions. How does NEOM turn lofty talk into real developments? Next, we'll look at the four standout projects, each tackling a different piece of the puzzle. Imagine a city with no cars, no roads, and no emissions, just a seamless, futuristic urban experience. That's the Line, NEOM's most ambitious project. Architecture follows a narrow, linear plan, so everything residents need is within easy reach. Officials say it will have space for 9 million people while drastically cutting traditional sprawl. Recent drone videos, along with official updates, suggest massive earthworks are happening. Foundation trenches are appearing, and the team is starting on the earliest stages of vertical construction. The scale is enormous, and many experts wonder how quickly they can bring in the advanced technology needed. Real timelines remain foggy. Some believe partial openings could arrive by 2030, but the entire project will likely extend beyond that date. The blueprint calls for state-of-the-art transport, possibly hyperspeed trains, and carbon-free systems. Critics question if these futuristic promises can be delivered soon. The bigger the idea, the more complex the engineering. Ensuring minimal carbon usage might be a real test in a desert climate that demands huge energy. Oxagon is envisioned as a floating logistics hub shaped like an octagon. The plan includes advanced robotics, zero-emission factories, and a streamlined shipping port on the Red Sea. So far, official statements highlight early feasibility work. Some pilot industrial facilities may be taking shape. But much of Oxagon's advanced automation remains on the drawing board. Given its location near trade routes, the site could become a major maritime gateway. A floating city is inherently expensive and complicated to build. Adapting such a port to real shipping logistics may require revised timelines. Observers point out that similar megaprojects have seen costs rise by 30 to 50% beyond initial estimates. If NEOM follows this trend, its budget could swell to over $600 billion. Trojena is planned as an all-seasons mountain resort, offering skiing, mountain biking, and other outdoor sports. Initial construction has started, and local tourism boards have mentioned test events in the works. Some official promotions claim that Trojena will host international gatherings, such as the 2029 Asian Winter Games. The broad vision includes futuristic architecture in a rugged natural setting, paired with a push for top-tier hospitality. Trojena faces a delicate environment. Creating snowy conditions in a region with limited precipitation raises concerns about water use, especially if relying on energy-intensive snow generation. Large-scale building on mountain slopes can harm biodiversity. Engineers must also handle harsh climate swings. Critics question if ongoing climate changes might complicate the plan. Sindala is a luxury island getaway in the Red Sea, designed to pull in wealthy travelers with world-class hotels, a marina for yachts, and cultural venues. Some progress updates mention partial events, possibly aimed at marketing the site to early visitors. High-profile influencers and dignitaries have visited. The construction of main facilities is reported, but not fully open. The NEOM team claims the island could launch certain hospitality offerings soon, fueling interest among global tourists. Building on a small island environment can threaten coral reefs and coastal ecosystems. Developers must balance exclusivity with real environmental protections. Long-term success requires a steady stream of visitors, which in turn hinges on global travel trends. If the rest of NEOM lags, Sindala might struggle to stand alone as a major draw. From a car-free city to a floating port, a desert ski resort, and a luxury island, these grand ideas sound extraordinary. But let's see how well they match actual building work, budgets, and desert conditions. NEOM's leadership initially promised high-tech breakthroughs and fast timelines. However, real progress has meant adapting or scaling back some ambitious details. The line, for instance, was first publicized as running 170 kilometers with mirrored facades towering 500 meters high. Now, official plans show a staged approach. Some experts hint that only a portion, maybe 2 to 3 kilometers, could be open by 2030, with the rest phased in later. Similarly, Oxagon's floating concept might see certain pilot structures on land before full maritime expansions occur. Meanwhile, Trojana's timeline depends on how quickly roads, hotels, and winter sports facilities can be completed. Local authorities keep restating a promise of advanced engineering, but real ground conditions sometimes require adjustments. In many ways, the project's biggest hurdles revolve around infrastructure. The vision includes no roads in the line, but people still ask how deliveries and emergency services will function. Similarly, advanced industrial systems at Oxagon require stable power grids and tech that might not be fully tested yet. These modifications do not necessarily undermine the core concepts. Supporters argue they show NEOM's flexibility in dealing with reality. Still, critics see evidence of overreaching. They note that multi-stage prototypes might be more grounded, but they also water down the original quick revolution narrative. A certain tension exists between the desire to push the envelope and the constraints of engineering, money, and time. Whether these scaled approaches can uphold the excitement remains to be seen. So plans have shifted and schedules have stretched. Does that mean this entire grand experiment is at risk, or is it just normal for such a huge enterprise to evolve? The $500 billion figure alone raises eyebrows. Megaprojects often exceed budgets, and NEOM's wide range of proposals, cities, ports, resorts, only multiplies that risk. Saudi Arabia has tapped into state oil giant revenues and bond issues to fund initial phases, but massive expansions may need external investment. If global markets turn cautious, or if oil prices dip, private backers might think twice. Delays could result in ballooning costs, prompting partial halts. The scale of NEOM might be just too big for its own good if not managed with precise financial discipline. Many recall how Dubai's grand projects slowed or were restructured following economic downturns, showing how unpredictably giant developments can run. To secure large, uninterrupted land for NEOM, local tribes in the region face eviction. Observers warn that forced relocations could provoke political or social unrest. Stories of local communities being pushed out or offered minimal compensation already stir controversy. Historically, projects that displace people without full consent can breed negativity for years, overshadowing any innovations. If relocation is mishandled, international voices may condemn NEOM, hurting tourism and foreign investment. In addition, poor handling of tribal rights can fuel distrust of the entire project. Balancing the need for giant construction zones with preserving local communities is a moral and public relations test for Saudi Arabia. NEOM markets itself as a green oasis with minimal carbon output. Yet critics argue the desert's harsh environment calls for massive energy consumption, cooling, desalination, and advanced infrastructure. Even if powered by renewables, the sheer scale demands resources that might contradict low-impact goals. Some see a polished marketing approach overshadowing real ecological challenges. For example, building floating facilities at Oxagon or ski slopes at Trojena requires huge water usage. If NEOM fails to meet its green claims, disillusioned investors and environmental groups could label it mere greenwashing. The project's future depends on showing that such high-tech expansions can be truly sustainable, not just in promotional videos, but in real data and performance. Massive resources and global partnerships could still save the day. Time to analyze the solutions that might keep NEOM on track and fuel the hope behind this monumental attempt. Despite hurdles, there are key levers that could help NEOM succeed. First, strategic funding can stabilize expansion. If the Saudi government combines state resources with strong foreign partners, it can avoid abrupt money shortfalls. Teaming up with global engineering, robotics, and hospitality leaders may offer the missing expertise to push forward. A phased approach to building might also win confidence. Rather than rushing to complete everything at once, NEOM can open smaller segments that prove feasibility and attract further investment. If early modules work well, skeptics might become believers. Transparency about labor practices and environmental data could also change the conversation. Addressing forced relocation concerns, ensuring fair compensation, and giving local residents a stake might reduce pushback. Meanwhile, rigorous green audits could counter the notion that NEOM is just a big PR campaign. Finally, hosting large events can show off NEOM's tourism potential. Sporting meets or global conferences could inject momentum, spur real estate interest, and highlight new hotels or entertainment venues. These strategies might keep NEOM on track and calm outside worries. Whether they can fully neutralize questions about the project's cost and scale is uncertain. But with patience, NEOM stands a chance of aligning reality with its futuristic pitch. Even with innovative funding and careful rollouts, the desert demands more than flashy proposals. Could flexible planning and global events tip the balance? Or will tough climate realities hinder the process? Officials want parts of the line open by the mid-2020s, with partial progress shown in first-phase builds. Oxagon, Trojena, and Sindala all target some milestones before 2030, but the entire NEOM concept might stretch well into 2045. Saudis and international observers share mixed feelings. Some see NEOM as the next big leap for city design, while others warn that overambitiousness could create half-finished sites. If early test phases of each project can prove robust, investors might double down. The kingdom hopes that NEOM's cutting-edge environment will lure tech giants and high-end tourists. But the big question remains, can these designs overcome scorching summers, limited water resources, and unpredictable markets? In the best scenario, NEOM could redefine urban norms, spurring new architecture and futuristic transport. But if deadlines slip or environmental issues flare up, these developments risk partial completion. Each step is being watched closely by prospective financiers, local communities, and critics worldwide. Their judgments will shape whether NEOM is remembered as a new model or a large-scale gamble. Funding concerns, potential human rights issues tied to forced relocations, and a desert environment that demands major resources all weigh against the project's bright branding. The real measure will be whether NEOM can harmonize advanced ideas with the complex realities of building in a harsh terrain. Some see in NEOM the seeds of tomorrow's eco-friendly cities. Others doubt it can fully escape the region's economic and logistical hurdles. For now, the world watches, waiting to see if NEOM can become the blueprint for a new era or remain an experiment that's too big to handle. Thank you for joining us on this NEOM update. Do you believe Saudi Arabia's $500 billion vision will thrive, or are the obstacles simply too large? Let us know your take in the comments below. If you enjoyed learning about these mega projects, please give this video a like and subscribe.